Okay, let's get into it because this is wild. You know that kind of fury that simmers quietly when someone keeps trying to rewrite their life like it's a movie? But we all saw the real version. That's Meghan Markle in a nutshell. It's like she's caught in this endless cycle of trying to rebrand herself, and honestly, it's exhausting. The image obsession, the endless PR spins, the drama that somehow finds her in every room she enters, that's not a fluke. That's a pattern. Now put Meghan next to Catherine, yes, the Princess of Wales, and suddenly everything just makes sense. Catherine isn't performing. She's not throwing glitter in the air to distract people. She's graceful, truly graceful. Not the kind that's marketed with filters and a brand deal. Like, remember when that young tennis player had a meltdown on court? Catherine just walked over and comforted her. No cameras, no drama, just a hand on her shoulder and genuine care. That's power. That quiet strength Meghan just can't fake, no matter how many Netflix specials or branded teas she pushes. And you want the real tea? This jealousy? It didn't start in the palace. Oh no, Meghan's been like this forever. There's this story that resurfaced, and it's telling. She got into a massive fight with her dad because he chose a summer camp over her school play. Her response? She flipped out, told him he couldn't work on the production, and moved out to live with her mom. Why? Because someone else got a moment she thought belonged to her. Sound familiar? That's not teenage drama. That's a lifelong pattern. Fast forward to now, Meghan's watching Catherine absolutely thrive. Glowing at Wimbledon, every headline praising her, looking stunning and bringing her kids along like she's giving a masterclass in royal duty. And Meghan, behind a paywall, pushing merch stamped with royal-style fonts and crests she technically walked away from, but still clings to like her life depends on it. And poor Harry. The guy's out here walking across landmines in Angola, trying to do real work, while Meghan, who wasn't even allowed to be there, conveniently leaks the story to the Daily Mail. Come on, who else would have done that? Not the palace, not Harry. So, yeah, the call was coming from inside the house. Apparently, Meghan's the one feeding scoops to the press while Harry's out here playing peacemaker. And here's the kicker, he might not even know. Sources say she's running this stealthy little media operation, quietly dialing up reporters while acting like she's above the noise. But it adds up. Even palace staff have said she's harsh when Harry's not around, but softens up the second he walks in. She's playing a double game. And Harry? He's not connecting the dots. Even Princess Diana supposedly called him thick. And in moments like this, yeah, you kind of see what she meant. Let's talk about William, because he's done. Like, completely over it. This whole idea of a royal reunion, of King Charles trying to bring everyone back together before it's too late, sounds sweet, right? But William? He sees it for what it is, a trap. One insider didn't even sugarcoat it. They said William absolutely effing hates Harry. And honestly, it's hard to blame him. This isn't petty drama. This is deep betrayal, broken trust. Every time Harry and Meghan re-enter the picture, chaos follows like a storm cloud. Meghan never wanted to be second to anyone. She thought marrying Harry meant she'd automatically become the main character in the royal story. But she misread the entire script. Catherine was always the star. Always. And Meghan, she's been trying to steal the spotlight ever since. No matter how many press stunts or exclusive interviews she gives, she can't rewrite reality. William's not playing anymore. The gloves are off. In his eyes, there's no path back for Harry and Meghan. Not as family, not as allies, nothing. Every interaction with them turns into a headline. Every private word becomes ammunition. William remembers how Harry dragged Catherine's name through the mud. Not directly, but we all saw the implications. The royal racist storyline, the cryptic accusations, they were vague enough for plausible deniability, but specific enough to hurt. And then, Omid Scobie's book drops, and the Dutch version didn't hold back. It named names, King Charles and Catherine. Even if Harry didn't say it himself, someone close enough to him did, and that's betrayal. That doesn't get fixed over tea at Clarence's house. That kind of wound lives in your bones. And now Meghan, she knows her time is running out. King Charles is the only senior royal still willing to entertain a conversation. When he's gone, that's it. William's going to be sharper, colder, unreachable. Meghan's sudden push for reconciliation isn't about love. It's about staying relevant, keeping the brand alive, because if that royal tie fully breaks, everything collapses. Look at her lifestyle brand. British-style products made in the US, wrapped in packaging that screams royal without using the actual word. She's trying to fool people into thinking there's still a royal connection, but there's not. No crest, no titles, no clout, just a couple desperately clinging to an empire built on curated stories and media theatrics. Even Catherine, the one who always keeps it classy, always smiles through the mess, is reportedly hoping Meghan finds success in something. Not because she's rooting for her. Oh no, it's way more tactical than that. A busy Meghan is a quiet Meghan. If Meghan's off launching skincare or selling overpriced tea, maybe, just maybe, she'll stop throwing grenades every time Catherine gets a flattering headline. But we all know that's a fantasy, because what happens every time Catherine shines. Meghan suddenly appears, not with grace, not with elegance, but with a perfectly timed leak. It's almost surgical. Take Wimbledon, for example. Catherine walks in looking flawless, the crowd adores her, and the press is glowing. And boom! Coincidentally, stories leak about a secret summit between Harry and King Charles. Oh please, that wasn't progress. That was sabotage. Plain and simple. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Meghan didn't want fame. She wanted to be the face, the centerpiece, the queen in waiting. But instead, she landed a supporting role. And not even in the royal script. She's now the sidekick to a fading prince. And when she realized she'd never outshine Catherine, the jealousy twisted into something darker, something permanent. Now what? The Sussexes are drifting through LA, showing up at dinner parties with Hollywood types who built their careers from the ground up. Meghan tries to mingle, but it's awkward. Harry? He's mostly silent, sometimes looking more like her accessory than her husband. Meghan keeps name-dropping, keeps bragging about royal life like it still matters, but every time she does, that gap between reality and fantasy gets bigger. And here's the killer part. In Hollywood, silence speaks louder than applause. And lately, Meghan's surrounded by silence. The power players she once leaned on, Oprah, Gayle King, the ultimate gatekeepers, have gone noticeably cold. Oprah, who once invited Meghan into her Montecito garden to spill all the royal secrets, yeah, she's now out vacationing with Lauren Sanchez. That's not a calendar conflict, that's a message. Let's talk about Meghan's brand for a second, the one that was supposed to scream elegance and female empowerment. You know, the candles, the teas, the fancy fonts, that whole vibe only works if people believe you're respected by the world you're selling to. But Meghan's inner circle, it's shrinking fast. That viral moment with Mindy Kaling at the Sussex Now Summit, yeah, you remember it. Meghan tried to flex. She tried to make a point about who she was, where she stood, but instead, it landed like a ton of bricks. The whole room felt it, and for someone trying to build an empire on poise and soft power, every awkward interaction chips away at the illusion. It's no accident that the real Hollywood elite are keeping their distance. It's not jealousy, it's caution, because everyone in that circle knows what happens when someone turns every personal moment into a brand opportunity. No one wants to end up in the next tell-all, the next podcast anecdote, or some passive-aggressive quote in a friend interview. People are waking up. Meghan's relationships seem to have an expiration date, and that date's coming quicker each time. Even her past is circling back. The stories about screaming at her father, being cutthroat over childhood theater roles, holding grudges for decades, they're not cute. They paint a woman who's always needed the spotlight and who melts down when it's given to someone else. And Harry? He's floating, like a man completely out of place, even in his own marriage. The spare who left his palace for a mansion, a legacy for awkward A-lister brunches. He's tried, really tried, to reinvent himself in California. But without the royal feud, what does he have left to say? When Meghan isn't launching a new product or trying for another magazine cover, Harry's either off surfing by himself or giving interviews that backfire hard. Remember when he said, "I don't know how much time my father has left"? That wasn't just tone deaf, it was cold. Who says that about their sick father on national television? Unless they're so far gone, so numb to normal human emotion, that even grief becomes content. Even their kids, who should have been their most grounded connection to something real, are rarely seen. Their public appearances are choreographed, their ventures scattered, their image completely fractured. And Meghan? She's still clinging to royal aesthetics. Her business is plastered with crest-like logos and elegant gold packaging, trying to look like it belongs in Buckingham Palace, but it doesn't. You can't slap a crown on a candle and expect people to forget everything else. You can't claim to be a victim of the monarchy while using palace imagery to sell herbal tea. Back in the UK, the royals have moved on. William and Catherine are focused, composed, unfazed by the Sussex chaos. They're showing up, doing the work, honoring tradition without the circus. And King Charles, he's likely dealing with everything through a father's lens, hoping for some kind of peace before it's too late. But even that window, it's closing, and fast. Because every leak, every media play, every sneaky move from across the Atlantic makes reconciliation harder and harder to justify. It's not about love. It's not about healing. It's about holding on to influence, to media value, to the illusion that they're still part of the institution that rejected them. Let's be real. The royal dream? It's done. The Hollywood fantasy? It never landed. And now, what's left is a couple facing a future they never planned for, a reality they tried to rewrite but couldn't. The cameras are moving on, the headlines are getting quieter, the phones are ringing less, and that silence, it's deafening. Silence, it's deafening.